Welcome back to the Colorado Springs Business Podcast. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I am the host of the show. Today, we are sponsored by Vehement Visuals, which is my video production company. I decided, we don't have any sponsors yet. Why am I not promoting my business? Like, locking in that spot, because I do see value in this advertisement sponsorship stuff. So it's like, why not utilize the platform to really promote my business, which is Vehement Visuals. We are a video production company. The main thing we do is work business to business and create video assets that businesses owners can use and really tells their story, really automates certain processes. That's the main thing that we do. And if you would like to talk about that, we can make that happen. All right. So the next sponsor is actually the Colorado Springs Business Podcast. If you'd like me to read an ad script at the beginning of every episode, 15 seconds to a minute maybe, about your business, then we can make that happen. At the beginning of every episode, we do episodes Monday through Friday, so that's 20 episodes a month that you can lock in on advertising space. And I think we're going to be doing you can lock in 6-month advertising deals, which will lock in that price of the current rate for an entire 6 months. So that's the Colorado Springs Business Podcast advertising space. That's how this show makes its money, and I think it's a very powerful thing. As the show grows, that's going to be something that people are going to be jumping on, and I could see that happening. All right, so the third thing I want to promote is the Colorado Springs Business Podcast Patreon account. Patreon is a platform that allows creators to really monetize their shows, their YouTube channels, maybe their music, their art. It allows creators to really basically build a Netflix for their own creative stuff, essentially. So there's bonus content on the Colorado Springs Business Podcast Patreon. One of the bonus content is an extra episode every single month where I recap all the guests that are on there. So there's going to be some other value that we add in there. You can one of the tiers, you get a Colorado Springs Business Podcast sticker and all that fun stuff. So that is all the sponsorship and ads for today, and I'm going to introduce the guest. Today we have on Naomi Skee with Dance Wonderland. So, Naomi, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, definitely. So in like a sentence or two, do you think you can explain what your business does?
Sure. So we offer dance instruction, choreography, and performance opportunities for adults in ballroom, Latin, country, and swing dancing. So we are a partner dancing studio, and we're a very community-oriented group, and we love to perform and put on a show for our local community.
Nice. I can't wait to get into that in the episode. And I'm going to roll the intro music. This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. Naomi.
Andrew.
So how's it been? How's life been? How's business been?
Well, business has actually been going.
Nice.
It took a turn, during the whole, stay-at-home orders and the COVID, when the pandemic began and started to really spread through the United States. And so there was a definite lull in the business for a little bit there. But we were able to open in as safe a way as possible. We, I adhere to the CDC guidelines with the mask wearing, and we've made quite a few changes at the studio. And so far it's gone well, and we've had an increase. I've had new students come in that are interested in learning to dance. And so, things are still, moving along. I'm actually surprised to see as many new students come into the door as I have since the COVID has started. Yeah.
Even a higher rate?
Not a higher rate. I wouldn't say that we're...
But just a surprising rate.
It's a surprising rate, yeah. But we still are getting the phone calls, and I've had a handful of new students come in for our intro classes and our intro group classes. And so things are still moving in the right direction.
That's awesome. I'm glad. That's good to hear.
Yes.
And I'm glad you guys have been able to sustain. Was there anything that you guys did differently when COVID happened? Did you try doing online courses? I know Facebook, if you go live, you can actually you can have people purchase tickets for your live event. Like, they added that feature in there. I think that's awesome.
Yes. So when we had the stay-at-home order, so we shut down the studio for at least 2 months. And so we were doing online classes. What was very challenging is I am a partner dancing studio. You can imagine trying to do online classes without a partner. So I got very creative. I was doing mostly technique classes. So we were just working on cha-cha technique because there's a lot of, rib cage and hip isolations. And so we were focusing less on the connection with the partner and more on the technique that really makes you and pulls you up to be a stronger looking dancer. I also did like turns and arm styling, which you don't need a partner for. And I created a music and musicality course for my students because it's something that's always been important to me. It's something that I've, as a daughter of a musician, I've taken for granted. That's really helped my dance journey as I have a deeper understanding of music.
I think music and dance are the same thing.
They are the same thing, but you'd be surprised how many dancers don't understand music. And I've worked with dancers, professional dancers and choreographers who can't count music. And so they have a good feeling for music. They have good interpretation, but they don't understand counts and so that was an opportunity. I kind of used COVID to expand my class repertoire, I guess.
Yes.
But so we made it work. I definitely had very low numbers online during the stay-at-home orders. But again, once we opened up, we've changed things. We have the masks. We don't rotate partners in group classes anymore. So you have one partner for the entire group class, where previously you would come in and we rotate, and by the end of the lesson, you've had the opportunity to dance with every leader if you're a follower or vice versa.
Does that help really smooth out the edges, when you have all those different people we were working with?
Yes. And so that was the advantage of rotating partners is everyone leads differently, everyone follows differently, and it helps you become a stronger dancer. It also helps balance the class out as an instructor. So for example, if I have 2 people who are brand new and I have maybe someone who has a little bit of experience, by the time they rotate around, those brand new dancers have had the opportunity to dance with someone who maybe has a little bit more experience, and it helps everyone. So it's definitely a challenge, but safety is number one. And so we just kind of make it work. Yeah,
it makes sense. I'd love to get into dancing because I love doing things that I've never done and things that kind of scare me. I'm more, I guess I want to loosen up a bit, and I think dancing could do that. And,
yes.
I'm not a very touchy person. I'm not a hugger. So it's I want to break that,
Well, it's funny is you say that I'm not really a huggy person either, but then I touch people for a living. So go figure. So, but yeah, exactly as you said, you want to loosen up. I always say the secret to good dancing is confidence.
Yeah.
And so just feeling, competent and able to put your correct foot in the right direction, and just getting out there. You could pull off the silliest dance move as long as
there's confidence in it. That's why I said it's the same thing as music. Because recently I've done music for over a decade, and I've never really been a singer. I've been more of a rapper, but I've been playing with playing my ukulele and really getting cover songs down, and I've been practicing a lot of cover songs to the point where it's I don't even know how good I am, but I'm really confident with how I sing. And I think I can it's a lot of it is the emotion. You can capture that emotion with the tonality. You can capture that emotion with the tone of your body too at the same time.
Yes.
So it's out of nowhere, I knew how to sing, and it was only because of confidence. That's what I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that's a secret to life, really, just confidence in anything you put yourself towards. You just got to be confident. You got to go for it and just tell yourself you can do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
It could be. Is it scary getting on stage in front of a bunch of people?
So, not anymore. I mean, there's a good healthy amount of adrenaline because obviously I don't want to fall down because I'm not perfect. I've definitely had very imperfect performances.
Sure.
But it's not scary in the way that getting up in front of a crowd and talking is for me.
Yes.
So no, I'm not afraid to get out and perform because it's what I love. And once the music starts, no one else is there. It's not you're feeling it.
You're in your mode. That's what you do.
Yeah,
it's when you spoke at 1 Million Cups though, you did a great job. I couldn't even
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I had to practice so much because that is outside my comfort zone. And to be fair, I've practiced dance so much that I that is my comfort zone. So I don't have any, it's a healthy amount of nerves as I'm walking on stage. But once the music's on, I'm not nervous. I'm just going for it.
Yeah. I could get that. Yeah. I could understand that. And like, so let's talk about that flash mob you recently did.
Yeah.
You be doing flash mobs.
Well, so it's actually an international West Coast swing flash mob. It's a tradition at the studio. And what I did is I actually choreographed a no contact
Interesting
partner routine with a scarf. So the scarf connected the dancers.
Okay.
So, and it was all in response to COVID. Because when we first started classes at the studio, I didn't want people touching. You know, we have since like changed that where you have one partner you can come into close contact with. But anyway, so this West Coast swing routine was inspired by like a no contact. So, because one of the main things you use in partner dancing is you connect with your arms. Think of like a rubber band, like you stretch, you come in, it's like a spring. And so we use the scarf to create those connection points.
Okay.
And
there's energy that flows through your arms, and you needed to have that energy flow through the scarf.
Exactly. I mean, it's literally like rubber band spring. That's constant through partner dancing, and that's what we use the scarf for. And it was really fun. Like we went to actually a couple assisted living centers. Like the residents remained inside, and we performed on their patio because they had really big windows. So we brought a few dance numbers to 2 assisted living centers. We went to Garden of the Gods, and then we actually performed at Dine Out Downtown, just right down here.
Okay, nice.
On Tejon, yeah.
Yeah, every Saturday they block off that street.
Yep. So we were right there in the streets, and we had such a good time.
Was it a flash mob like traditional, or was it planned?
It was planned.
Okay, like everyone knew about it. Not everyone, but it wasn't like you just ran them in a mall and did it.
Not
you got permission
this time.
First.
We got permission. Actually, it was through the Curbside Culture program. So I'm going to give a shout out to that program. So the Dine Out Downtown, and then there's Curbside Culture, which is with Peak Radar. You know
did they create that because of COVID?
They did, and so what that does is it promotes different artists. So that you can hire dancers, and I'm on that website. You can hire musicians to come to your restaurant and perform in the streets for your guests. And so Curbside Culture, Colorado Springs Dance Theater, they hire Dance Wonderland to perform for the Dine Out Downtown.
Nice. Is that consistent?
So no, that was just a one-time ordeal, but we would love to do it again. Yeah. We had such a good time.
If you do, let me know, because I'm always downtown now that I got this location here for this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm always downtown.
Cool. Yeah, I will let you know if we get another gig.
Yeah, sweet. So how long have you been in business?
Well, so I've been teaching dance since college. I taught for like in public schools. It was like a grant program. And I've been dancing my whole life, but I actually went to school to be a math teacher.
Oh, wow.
And so I met my husband, who's in the Air Force, and when we moved to our first assignment, it was supposed to be very temporary, like a year and a half. And so I decided to not get my teacher license in that state and just teach dance.
Nice.
So I started like really teaching, I'd say, in 2011. And then I also got a contract at the base teaching there. So I was kind of running my own business as well as a contractor, as well as teaching in someone's established studio. And then that was when I just decided.
As a contractor, what does that look like?
So I get to decide the cost. I get to decide what dances, the times, things like that. And I had to pay a percentage back to the youth center on base. Because I was using the base facility. So that was my first taste of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And I really liked the flexibility, the freedom. I was also working as an employee at this other studio. So I had the taste of both worlds. You know, she had a more established studio, so I got to teach like higher level dancers, where at the base, I was kind of building from the ground up, you know. Yeah. And then that's when I just decided I loved that. So our next assignment brought us to California. And so I immediately started with the contract at the base, and I started another dance program. And, you know, by our third year, I had tripled my numbers because I had started with like 20 something kids. And by the time the third year, I had like over 60 kids in my program.
Nice.
And so, you know, we got our next assignment, which is Colorado Springs. And I started a contract here on base. I was also teaching independently at a ballroom studio. And, just the ballroom numbers just like started like exploding. And eventually.
Numbers as in guests or?
Customers, clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I started with 1 client a week, then grew to 2. And then, here it just kept growing, and I just decided I wanted my own space. And so I took one of the scariest plunges I've ever done is I put my name on a commercial lease. My husband and I like completely like tore apart that because it was an office building.
Is he still on assignment?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so what happens if you got to go somewhere else?
So and we've talked about that, and he's about to deploy again, so he'll be gone. But he just started a new assignment at Schriever Air Force Base. So
where's that at?
That's in town. So
Okay.
he was at Peterson, and so he got another assignment at Schriever. Thankfully, his job or his career is in the Space Force now.
Nice.
And so this is Space Headquarters, so there's a lot of jobs. So we're hoping to stick around, but we've also talked about he could do guard or reserves because they don't move you around. They only move active duty. So he would be willing to like switch out of active duty just so that we can stay here because I am tired of restarting my business. You know,
it's probably teaching you so much though. Like, not that you want to do that consistently, but but you probably learned like how to start from scratch over and over again. That's got to be powerful.
It is, yeah. I mean, I definitely learned a lot. Perseverance and is a big life skill I feel like I've learned. But yeah, so here we are, and I have my own studio, and I've actually gone through quite a few renovations, even once I had my studio, because at first it was, I only had 1 unit. It's actually a triplex unit, and so then I leased the 3rd unit, and we built another dance studio there, and then we actually bought the building, and then we knocked out the wall, and then so we expanded the floor. So I've actually built 4 dance floors since we've been in that building.
Did you buy the whole building? Like you're not leasing out through no one?
No,
That's awesome.
Yes, I thought so too. And then the COVID thing happened, and I was like, oh man, like I am stuck.
I do remember that. Like shortly after, I don't know if it was a month or a few months from your 1 million cup speech, you were talking about that, and. Yeah, I didn't even consider like that like perspective of it. Like, wow, you literally just got started with it, and boom, like, nope.
Yeah.
So, but you've been able to utilize it though.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing okay. Like I said, the clients are still like coming in the door, not at the rate they used to, but and we were able to retain most of our student base. That was with us before. And so that was helpful. So
how do you go about getting students? What's your I guess client acquisition strategy?
I have several. I mean, you have to have lots of little irons in the fire. You can't just use Google. You can't just use Facebook. So I mean, I do Google. I do Facebook. I have Yelp. There's Thumbtack, and I'm always interested in trying new things. I think that's one of the things that has been very helpful to my success. Is like I'll see a prompt for this ad for this business that does things like Thumbtack, and I was like, well, let me just set up a profile and, put some pictures and write a bio. It takes time, it's time consuming for sure. Like Groupon's another one that I've used.
Yeah, Groupon I'm not very familiar with. How does that work?
So, honestly, it's the same thing. You have a profile. Groupon's really well known that people get really good deals. And so I just have. So
you post your deals on there.
Yeah, okay. and then Groupon takes a 50% cut. It's pretty
50%. That means you got to double your prices.
but see, that's the thing. So and people go on there because they want a good deal, but then Groupon takes a pretty hefty cut, and so it's
that makes me not like them at all.
I don't love the Groupon. That's why I was like, honestly. And then
kind of 50%. That's ridiculous.
Well, and so I think the opportunity is like that you can have someone use their platform that's really well known and get people in your door, and maybe choose them as a lifelong client. But
LTV,
I mean, I'm so to the point where I actually am with you. I don't like Groupon, and like if I see that someone has a Groupon, I'll call them and I'll just be like, I want to pay you full price for nice.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
For your Groupon special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about I've heard Thumbtack. I've heard some bad things about Thumbtack. It usually I guess it depends on your industry, but it attracts usually the crappier clients.
Well, I would say the opposite. I feel like for Groupon.
Okay.
I feel like I get lots of people who just want a cheap deal, and I never see
well,
them
Groupon
again.
would be even worse than Thumbtack, is what I'm
Oh
thinking.
my goodness.
Definitely. But
Well,
yeah.
actually, I've made so much success off of Thumbtack.
That's good.
So, and I'm what they consider a top pro. And so like, I'm like that top 4%, but I will tell you one of the reasons, like I have more hires, more reviews than any of my client, like competition,
Nice.
not my clients, but my competitors. And, one of the things that I attribute to that success is I am very responsible. Like when people message me and inquire, and I'm sincere, and I always write a custom individualized response. It's not just a canned, like, here, I actually like them. I've gotten a lot of wedding clients through.
And see, I don't know nothing about that. I just heard some things, and I don't even remember exactly what they were. So maybe I'm just making crap up right now.
No, I mean, I don't know for other industries. I can't say one way or another. They do charge you for a lead, whether that client. So, for example, if someone wants wedding dance lessons, they charge every one of my competitors, $5, $10 to have a conversation with this client. That client is only going to choose one of us. So you can be out your $5, $10, so that's the only, I mean, you take a risk. It's like a gamble. But again, one of the reasons I've been successful is I have more reviews than everyone. So it's almost like I'm almost a shoo-in because my profile looks the best.
So do you think Thumbtack represents about 80% of where your clients come from?
No. Google's another huge one.
Yeah.
Facebook. I mean, they're all equally intertwined.
Okay. Well, usually what I've noticed is one is the dominant thing. At least like around 80%. Would you say does one of them have that, or is it like about 20-20-20?
I would say about 20-20-20. I mean, probably maybe even Google. I mean, that has really brought me to the top. And Facebook, the power of Facebook, oh boy, just because.
Because the network, the connection.
Yeah, well, if someone says they're interested in an event, like
Yes.
their friends, like it snowballs.
Yes.
So honestly, I would say Facebook is my most powerful.
Same here for me and my business.
Platform. But I would say, I mean, Facebook has a slight lead, and then Google and Thumbtack. But I would say, 20-20-20, and maybe the rest is word of mouth and Groupon and,
So when people search a dance studio in Colorado Springs, are you the first result?
It depends. So the way that Google Ads works is, you set your budget. And so if I have budget for that day, I'll pop up. But like, let's say I get 2 or 3 clicks, then I might not.
Are you talking about ads?
Yes.
Oh, I was talking about like with search.
No, I think if you go to Maps, I do pop up first. But if you just are looking at the page, I don't.
I noticed with my maps, if you're in map searching something, if you're in the actual map apps, it'll show you the closest ones to your proximity.
Yes.
Not even ranking you as like the best business. I guess it probably does rank somewhat like that, like maybe the closest ones and then rank. So it's like, I just curious because I would like to be the first to pop up when someone types video production services in Colorado Springs.
Well, and that's exactly why I had to go to ads, because when I first came to Colorado Springs, keep in mind, like I'm competing with studios who've been established for 20 plus years. I will say that I am starting to move through the ranks organically because I have so many good reviews. I have,
that helps a lot. I think that's one of the biggest factors.
Yeah, so I actually have more reviews than almost all of my competitors.
Nice, that's good.
So that's helped a lot to kind of bring me up on the organic search. But I still do depend on Google Ads in order to get me as that first landing page up at the top.
So when we finish our video, if you could go to Google and review my business, that'd be nice.
Yeah, love to. Yeah, I understand how important that is.
Yeah, because I haven't been promoting my business. I've actually been lacking on that, and I think I've got 1 review on there, but that's just I'm okay with that right now because I'm mainly focused the way I do business. The way my client acquisition works is usually networking events or Facebook. I have a strategy on Facebook, and then this podcast is actually another client acquisition strategy for me in a way. And like, it's not like I don't do this podcast for that, but it's like a side product that comes from that. And like, it was one of the initial reasons why I started the podcast. So there is a percentage of the motivation to do the podcast for that, but it's not my main reason anymore. It's because I've realized how powerful, like how awesome this thing's gonna be. Like this podcast can be its own business itself, standalone, even has the potential to outperform my video production business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so what's your favorite kind of dance? Do you have a favorite? Or is favorites hard? Because I don't like favorites.
Favorites are hard. I always say my favorite dance depends on my mood, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
but
That's how music is too. See,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Exactly. That's like being like, what's your favorite type of music? I just feel like I like them all. I like variety, you know?
Same here.
So, and that is definitely what Dance Wonderland specializes in, is ballroom, Latin, country swing, and then there's 5 to 8 categories under each of those main categories. So we teach 20 plus dances, and that's what's fun when we go out dancing. And a lot of people don't realize, like, when you go to, or when you could go to Cowboys and go to a country bar, you think, oh, you country two-step. And yes, you absolutely country two-step, but there's also songs that are going to be more appropriate to do a nightclub to. There's going to be songs that are more appropriate to West Coast, to East Coast, to cha-cha, to waltz. And so there's so many different genres that fit underneath country. So that's what's fun for us, is like,
does waltz fit underneath country?
It does. There's a lot of country songs that are a waltz.
I thought that was ballroom one.
Well, so there's the ballroom world, and then there's the
Is
country.
waltz just a step? Is that just, it's not a specific dance?
Oh, it is a specific dance. Yeah, but so there's the country waltz.
Okay.
But there's, I'm trying to think of a song off the top of my head, but there are plenty of country songs that are 3/4 time.
Boot Scoot Boogie?
Not Boot Scoot Boogie.
That's the only one I can think of that has a dance attached to it.
Sure.
I guess Billy Ray Cyrus' song, Achy Breaky Heart.
That's actually a cha-cha.
Okay.
Bum, 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 bum. Like, you would cha-cha to that. So that's
Nice.
exactly a great point. Like, so that song, I wouldn't country two-step to. I would cha-cha.
Okay.
Because it's a country cha-cha song.
Nice.
Neon Moon is another one that's a cha-cha. There's a really popular line dance to that. But yeah, so there's plenty of country songs that are not just one size fits all country two-step,
Nice.
So we end up dancing all the different styles when we go out.
So if someone wanted to get started in dancing, how would you approach teaching that person?
Yeah, so we have...
and they've never danced ever
They've
before.
never, and that's, those people, like, I'm like, perfect, you've come to the right place,
Nice.
right? No bad habits, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly, because you get those bad habits, like, learned.
Yes. I would much rather work with someone who's never danced before than work with someone who's danced for 20 years at the bar and never taken lessons, because there's a lot of bad habits you have to break. Yes. So anyways, what we do is we go through an intro lesson, and so we'll just go through the 3 basic elements of partner dancing: forward and backward walks, side steps, rock steps. We talk about connection and frame, and then we just start showing them different styles. Usually I'll ask them, like, what are you interested in learning? What's your favorite type of music to, listen to? Because that can help me cater what I teach them to their interests, or, their what they're interested in. So I usually will try and show them 2, sometimes 3 different styles of dance, and then we go from there. We have group lessons, private lesson options, and honestly, the more you're in the studio, the faster you learn. So I usually recommend group and private lessons, just so, because if you only did private lessons and you're only dancing with me, well, then when you go out and dance with someone else, you're going to be like, this is not the same. So that's the advantage of group classes. So you can learn to dance with different people.
For sure. So how does a dancer make a living?
How does a dancer make a living? Well, I guess it depends on the type of dancer. And I mean, like,
do you teach people to make a living after dancing, or is it you mostly just recreation?
So, I see your question. Yeah. So most of my students are working adults who just do dance for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not like teaching at a university and mentoring, young, aspiring professional artists. That's not my clientele right now. Yeah. So mine's pretty much a purely recreational way for adults to go have a social life and dance and have fun and do something that I feel like is pretty intuitive for all humans. Like, music and dance has been a part of human culture since the beginning of time, and so I'm just helping them have an avenue so that they can just make that happen, And I think one of the most important things about our studio is just the community that we have, because like I said, they're all working adults, and that's their place to go to just stress relief, and we hang out and we laugh, we have good times, and it's more than just learning how to dance. It's a recreation, a place to get away.
an anxiety reliever.
Yeah.
I could feel that.
Yeah.
I gotta hit this button real quick.
Sure.
All right. Okay, cool. So I guess we could start wrapping this thing up. Is there anything specifically that you wanted to promote today?
Yeah, so we have our showcase coming up here, and we've adapted it with the season of COVID, and we're doing dinner and a show at home. So what we're doing, this is our annual benefit. So we, our adult students, we put a bunch of numbers together, routines and performance numbers, and we're dancing for a cause. And what that cause is that we're donating money to Colorado Springs Dance Theater so that we can provide scholarship funds for these young and aspiring dancers who want to go and
professional dancers, okay.
Who want to go and become professionals. And one of the things reasons it's important to me is I love what I do. I feel so lucky. I don't work a day in my life. I get to just create shows and routines and dance and have fun. And you know what? I've been dancing since I was 5, and I'm so thankful for my dance journey. And I just think, like, you know, what if my parents didn't have the resources to put me in dance? Like, I would be missing out on such a wonderful opportunity. And so this is my way to give back, because I'm so grateful for my life. And I want to make it so that anyone who wants to be a dancer can be a dancer. And so that's what this show's about. It's also just a fun opportunity for my students to get to put on sparkly costumes. And 'cause like I said, they're just working adults, you know.
For sure.
So the dancers are mostly amateurs. There's me and my professional dance partner and the other professional instructors, but the rest are just working adults putting on a show for fun, and it's going to be awesome. So we are going to broadcast that October 17th. You can get dinner tickets. It will all be delivered to your home, and you can watch the show. It is an 80s prom theme, so you can, you know, have some guests over. You can dress up. We'll provide the video, the dinner, and then we'll have a virtual dance lesson.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll provide a party playlist.
Okay.
So that same structure is what would happen at the event, but because of, you know, health and safety reasons, we decided to let people decide the size of the party in their own home. And that way it could be one couple, 2 couples, maybe 4 couples, but, you know, just keep it small and keep it safe.
And what platform is that going to be on?
So that's going to be through Eventbrite.
Okay,
so we're going to
nice.
be broadcasting the show through Eventbrite. You can get your tickets there as well.
Nice. Well, fantastic. Well, yeah, so I guess that wraps up. I almost said represent. I guess it does represent what you do. But I guess that wraps up the show. This has been the Colorado Springs Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.